Look at here, I'm going to compare the bone of leg with the bone of the forearm. In the forearm, we have got two bones, ulna over the medial side, radius over the lateral side. Likewise, in the leg, we have got two bones, tibia and fibula. Tibia, the larger bone over the medial side, and fibula, the thinner bone over the lateral side. The radius, that is the lateral bone of the upper limb, is homologous with the medial bone of the lower limb, that is the tibia. Ulna, that is the medial bone of the forearm, is homologous with the lateral bone of the leg, that is the fibula. Why this difference? Why this disparity? The reason is rule of thumb. You can also note down here that we have got thumb in the upper limb over the lateral side. We have got thumb, which is not known as thumb but the big toe, over the medial side in the lower limb. Therefore, rule of thumb will decide. Thumb side bone will be homologous. The radius and the tibia are homologous bone, and opposite these bone, two bones will be homologous. Ulna and the fibula are homologous bones. Hence, a bone is medial or lateral. This will not decide they are homologous bone. The rule of thumb will decide thumb side bones are homologous and opposite bones are homologous. There are also other similarities between these two bones. Both the bones in both the regions will make three joints. First of all, there is a joint between the shaft of the two bones. Between the shaft of the ulna and the radius, we have got interosseous membrane, and the joint is syndesmosis, a fibrous joint. Likewise, the tibia shaft and the fibula shaft are joined together with the help of the interosseous membrane, and the joint is syndesmosis, fibrous joint. Proximally, these two bones will make a joint. This is the proximal radioulnar joint, and as well as distally, these two bones will make a joint, that is the distal radioulnar joint. Proximal and distal radioulnar joint are involved in a paired movement, that is supination and pronation. Likewise, in the lower limb, tibia and fibula make a joint proximally and make a joint distally. Proximal tibiofibular joint and a distal tibiofibular joint. Proximal tibiofibular joint is a synovial joint of plain variety with a minimal movement. Here we have got a synovial joint with a minimal movement. Distally, the fibula lower end will make a joint with the tibia bone, and this joint is not a synovial joint, this is a fibrous joint. So this was the comparison of the bones of the legs with the bones of the forearm. All these four bones have a triangular shaft, and one border of the shaft will be involved in the interosseous membrane attachment, and that border will be named as the interosseous border. But there is difference of alignment between the radius and ulna and tibia and fibula. How the radius and ulna provide attachment to the interosseous membrane, and how tibia and fibula provide attachment to the interosseous membrane. I will demonstrate it over my notes. Now look at here. This is the radius and the ulna bone of the forearm upper limb, and this is the tibia and the fibula bone of the leg lower limb. Radius and ulna is the paired bone, and tibia and fibula are the paired bone. These paired bone are homologous to each other. Radius is homologous to the tibia and ulna is homologous to the fibula. The shaft of the radius and ulna, tibia and fibula is triangular in shape and get attached over the interosseous membrane. So both the bones will have an interosseous border towards the interosseous membrane. But what is the alignment of the radius and ulna bone and tibia and fibula bone when they get attached to the interosseous membrane? This is very important to understand, to have a good concept of the borders and the surfaces of these bones. First, I will show you the alignment of the radius and ulna, and then I will move to the tibia and fibula. Look at here. This is the radius bone, bone of the outer side, and this is the ulna bone, bone of the inner side. Both the bones are joined with this border here, and this is the interosseous membrane, and these are the interosseous borders. Interosseous border of the radius is towards the ulna. It is the medial border, and interosseous border of ulna is towards the radius. It means it's the lateral border. Against the medial border of the radius, we have got a surface. This is the lateral surface of the radius bone, and against the lateral border of the ulna, we have got a surface, that is the medial surface of the ulna bone. Rest of the borders and surfaces are simple. Both have got an interior border, both has got a posterior border, both has got an anterior surface, both has got a posterior surface. So let me repeat only the odd ones. Radius has got a medial border towards ulna, and a surface opposite the middle border is the lateral surface. Ulna interosseous border is lateral, and against lateral, ulna has got a surface that is the medial surface of the ulna bone. Now I'll draw the bones of the leg and will show you how the alignment is different from the homologous bones of the upper limb forearm. This is the cut section of the tibia bone, triangular in cut section. This is the anterior border of the tibia bone, and against anterior border, tibia has got a surface that is the posterior surface of the tibia bone. Tibia bone provides attachment to the interosseous membrane here. Here is the interosseous membrane present between tibia and the fibula. Now I show you how fibula provides attachment to this interosseous membrane. Fibula is aligned different from the tibia. Fibula is aligned like this, like radius bone. It has an interosseous border towards the medial bone. So it is the medial border of the fibula bone, and against the medial border, fibula will have a surface that will be its lateral surface. So now it's obvious that bones of the leg alignment is different from the bones of the forearm. This is different. So now it's obvious that bones of the leg alignment is different from the bones of the forearm. After that, fibula has got an interior border, an interior surface, a posterior border and a posterior surface. Tibia has got a medial border and a medial surface, and it has got a lateral border and a lateral surface. So my dear students, note down, draw this alignment and keep in mind what are the borders and surfaces of radius and ulna and what are the borders and surfaces of tibia and fibula, because this is very difficult to learn the borders and surfaces through rote learning. Make a good concept with the help of these simple drawings. But there is one more tricky point in the fibula bone, because fibula bone is not that much simple. I will explain that tricky point here. The tricky point is that fibula cut section is not exactly like this. The exact cut section of the fibula bone is like this. So this diagram is different from this diagram. Here we have got 4 borders and 4 surfaces, and here we have got 3 borders and 3 surfaces. But this is not so. Let me explain you the exact borders and surfaces of fibula bone. This one is the medial border of the fibula bone, which has got attachment to the interosseous membrane and then get attached with the tibia bone. This is the medial border of the fibula bone. Very close to the medial border towards outer aspect, this border is the anterior border of the fibula bone. And against anterior border, this one is the posterior border of the fibula bone. So these are the 3 borders of the fibula bone, medial, anterior and posterior. And we have got the 3 surfaces. Let me demonstrate the 3 surfaces for you. This one between medial and anterior border, the surface is the anterior surface or the medial surface. Between the anterior and the posterior towards outer side is the lateral surface of the fibula. Between medial border and the posterior border, this whole surface is the posterior surface. These are not 2 surfaces. This one is not the border. This is the tricky point. I will repeat, between medial and posterior, this whole is one surface, the posterior surface, and this is not the border. This is the median crest. This one is the median crest that just divide the posterior surface into 2 parts. Posterior surface is divided into 2 parts on both sides of the median crest. This whole is the posterior surface. So I will repeat one last time. Fibula has got a medial border, it has got a anterior border, and it has got a posterior border. Between medial and anterior, the surface is medial or anterior. Between anterior and posterior, this surface is the lateral surface. And here between medial and posterior, the surface is like this. The surface has got a median crest in the center. But this whole surface is the posterior surface divided into 2 parts with the help of median crest. So make your concept clear with this drawing. This was about the comparison between the bones of the leg and the bones of the forearm. Now I'll talk about the individual bones, tibia bone and the fibula bone. So let's describe the tibia bone. Tibia is a long bone. It's the bone of the medial side of the leg. It's homologous to the radius bone of the upper limb. And like any long bone, it has got three parts. It has got an upper end, it has got a lower end, and it has got a shaft in between. First of all, the upper end. Look at here, this is the upper end of the tibia bone. The upper end of the tibia bone, you can note down, has got a front aspect, has got a top superior aspect, has got medial aspect, and has got a lateral aspect. Or the back, it has got a posterior aspect. The upper end of the tibia bone, you can note down, has got two condyles, a medial condyle, larger one, and a lateral condyle, that is the smaller one. So we have got two condyles, and two condyles of tibia, you can appreciate they are hanging backward. They are hanging backward. They are not hanging on the front side, they are hanging backward. Now coming to the surfaces of the upper end, and this is the superior aspect of the upper end of the tibia bone. There we can see that we have got two condyles. Condyles are lined by the hyaline cartilages for articulation at the knee joint. Here we will have articulation with the medial condyle of the femur. Here we will have articulation with the lateral condyle of the femur bone. You can note down, medially the superior articular surface is larger and oval in shape, and laterally the articular surface is smaller and rounded in shape. Medial condyle, superior aspect is oval in shape, lateral condyle, superior aspect is rounded in shape. In between the two condyles, you can see we have got a non-articular area. Top of the condyles is articular, but in between two condyles over the superior aspect, we have got a roughened area. This roughened area is known as the intercondylar area. Intercondylar area, which provides attachment to the ligaments of the knee joint. In the intercondylar area, you can note down two prominent projections. The two prominent projections, these two prominent projections are known as the intercondylar tubercles. So I will repeat, over the superior aspect of the tibia bone, we have got the articular part of the medial and lateral condyles. In between is the non-articular intercondylar area, and in the intercondylar area in the center we have got bony prominency known as the intercondylar tubercles. Now coming to the anterior aspect of the upper end, or the interior aspect of the upper end, we have got a elevation, a smaller elevation known as the tibial tuberosity. This is the tibial tuberosity, which will provide attachment to the quadriceps muscles. So this is the tibial tuberosity. Over the posterior aspect of the tibia upper end, you can note down we have got an oblique ridge. Posterior aspect also has got a facet. I have already demonstrated. This facet is present beneath the lateral condyle and is for articulation with the fibula head, forming the proximal tibiofibular joint here. This is the medial surface of the upper end, and this is the lateral surface of the upper end. This medial surface of the upper end will provide attachment to the three muscles, and the mnemonic for those three muscles is famous Sardar Ganda Singh. S for sartorius, G for gracilis, and then S for semitendinosus. So three muscles will attach over the medial aspect of the tibia upper end. Now coming to the lower end of the tibia bone. Lower end of the tibia bone is smaller than the upper end and it has got 5 aspects. It has got a front aspect and it has got a back aspect. You can note down the front aspect is relatively smooth and the back aspect has got some bony impressions. Then comes the medial aspect and the lateral aspect. The medial aspect, as you can see, is projected outward, projected medially. This is known as the medial malleolus. This is the medial malleolus. Over the medial bone, we have got medial malleolus. Over the lateral bone, we have got the lateral malleolus. Look at here. This is the lateral aspect of the tibia lower end, and this lateral aspect of the tibia lower end has got a triangular depression. This triangular depression is for articulation with the lower roughened parts of the fibula to form the distal tibiofibular joint. Now coming to the inferior aspect of the tibia lower end. This inferior aspect of the tibia lower end will articulate with the talus bone to form the ankle joint. Will articulate with the talus bone to form the ankle joint. But this articulation is not complete without the fibula bone. Fibula bone lower end will complete this articulation, will complete this socket, and this socket will get fit into the talus and lead to the formation of the ankle joint. Let me show you here. We have got fibula bone, we have got the tibia bone, and this is the talus, one of the tarsal bones. Talus bone fits into a socket formed by medial malleolus of the tibia bone, then the tibia lower end, and then the fibula lateral malleolus. So the lateral malleolus to the fibula bone, the lower end of the tibia bone, and the medial malleolus form a socket. This socket is for the talus bone, and here we will have the ankle joint. Now I'll describe the shaft of the tibia bone. This shaft of the tibia bone is triangular in cut section, so it will have 3 borders and 3 surfaces. First of all, the borders. The borders are the anterior border, a medial border towards the malleolus side, and a lateral border towards the notch side. So first the interior border. How to trace the interior border? It's very easy. From the tibial tuberosity downward, we can trace the interior border. This is the interior border of the tibia bone, also known as the shin, and this interior border is subcutaneous, present just beneath the skin. You can also note down that this interior border is somewhat spiral in shape, not a vertical line. This is a spiral line. Anterior border of the tibia bone is in the shape of the spiral line. Now coming to the medial border. Look at here. This is the medial border of the tibia bone. This is the medial border of the tibia bone. How we'll trace it? We can trace the medial border of the tibia bone. This is the medial malleolus, and from the posterior margin of the medial malleolus upward, we can trace the medial border. Now coming to the lateral border of the tibia bone. This is the lateral border of the tibia bone. This is very easy to trace. We have got a triangular shape notch here, fibular notch here. From the apex upward, we can trace this lateral border of the tibia bone. Now coming to the surfaces, these are very easy. Between the anterior border and the lateral border, we have got this lateral surface of the tibia or the anterolateral surface of the tibia, because this is on the front side also. Then between the medial border, this is the medial border, and the anterior border, we have got the medial surface or the anteromedial surface. This whole is the medial surface of the tibia bone. Now coming to the posterior surface, that is present on the posterior aspect. between the medial border and the lateral border. Between these two borders over the back we have got the posterior surface. In the upper part of the posterior surface you can note down we have a oblique ridge. This oblique ridge is very much prominent and is known as the soleal line. So the upper part of the posterior surface has got the soleal line and divides the posterior surface into two parts, a triangular upper part and a tubular lower part. A triangular upper part and a tubular lower part. And here we can appreciate an impression of a vertical ridge. So we can say that the posterior surface is divided into two parts with the help of this vertical ridge. This is not very much prominent, but we can appreciate if we concentrate. There is a ridge and here we have got two parts of the posterior surface. So this is all about the tibia bone. Now look at here. This is the tibia bone, a bone of the medial side of the leg, and it's a long bone. It has got three parts: upper end, lower end and the shaft. The detail of the upper and lower end and shaft we have done with this detail already. So I'll now just talk about the side determination. For side determination, I have mentioned three principles in my video about the side determination of any bone. For side determination of any bone, keep in mind you have to mention three bony landmarks. One bony landmark should decide about upper and lower, one bony landmark should decide about front and back, and one bony mark should decide about medial and lateral. Then no one can challenge you about the side. No one can question you about the side that this is not the right side, this is not the left side. We will mention one prominent landmark for front or back, and that is the tibial tuberosity on the front of the upper end. Then we have to talk about the upper and lower aspect, prominent aspect about the upper and the lower. So we'll say that upper end has got condyles. This is the upper end. Last we have to locate one prominent landmark for the medial and the lateral. So at the lower end there is a prominent medial bony projection known as the medial malleolus. So this is the tibia of the right side. Anatomical position of the tibia bone is very easy because simply you have to hold the tibia bone vertically. If you hold the tibia bone vertically, this is the anatomical position of the tibia bone. So that's all about the side determination and the anatomical position of the tibia bone. Now let's describe the fibula bone. Fibula is a long bone and the lateral side bone of the leg. Like any long bone, it has got three parts. It has got an upper end, it has got a lower end and it has got a shaft. First of all, the upper end. This is the upper end of the fibula bone. You can see it expanded from side to side. It has got a projection. Here we can see that it has got a projection. This projection is posterolateral, known as the styloid process. So this is the styloid process. This is the head, and after the head you can see we have got a constriction over the upper end. This constriction is known as the neck of the fibula bone. After this the shaft will start. So this is the upper end of the fibula bone, which has got a head, which has got a neck and which has got a styloid process over the top posterolateral aspect. This is the styloid process. Fibula bone upper end or the head has got a articular facet here. This is the articular facet of the fibula bone. This articular facet of the fibula bone will articulate with the facet beneath the lateral condyle of the tibia bone. Look at here, we have got a facet here beneath the lateral condyle of the tibia bone. Here the fibula upper end will articulate and make a plain synovial joint, and this synovial joint is known as proximal tibiofibular joint. You can note down the articulation of the proximal tibiofibular joint, a facet beneath the lateral condyle of the tibia and a facet above the superior aspect of the upper end of the fibula bone. This joint is known as the proximal tibiofibular joint. Now come to the lower end of the fibula bone. I have shown you upper end. The upper end was expanded somewhat, but this end is flattened. It has got two aspects. It has got an outer aspect. This aspect of the fibula bone is known as the malleolus. This is the lateral malleolus over the lower end of the fibula bone. Outer aspect. Over the inner aspect of the lower end, you can note down we have got two structures. This triangular shape is the articular facet which will articulate with the talus bone to form the ankle joint. Note down, here we will not have the distal tibiofibular joint. This facet over the lower end is for articulation with the talus bone. Look at here. Here we have got a depression. This is known as the malleolar fossa. Outer is the lateral malleolus. Outer aspect is the lateral malleolus, and over the inner aspect of the malleolus we have got a depression for the passage of the tendon. This depression is known as the malleolar fossa. Above the lower end, there is a triangular shape area, a roughened area. You can see that this is roughened area. This is the smooth area. The smooth area will make the synovial joint articulation. Here we have got a rough area. This rough area will be attached with the fibular notch over the lower end of the tibia. Look at here, this is the fibula bone lower end which has got a smooth triangular area, and above smooth triangular area there is a roughened triangular area. The smooth triangular area will make a synovial joint, and the roughened triangular area will make a fibrous joint. This is the tibia bone lower end, the medial aspect of the lower end which has got a facet for fibular facet. This facet is for the attachment with the lower part of the fibula bone. But keep in mind, lower part of the fibula bone has got a facet. Here this triangular facet is not for this area. This triangular facet is for ankle joint. Above this triangular area we have got another triangular area. Note down, this triangular area is roughened. This is smooth. Smooth triangular area articulation will make the synovial joint, and rough will not make synovial joint. This part of the triangular part of the fibula bone will get attached with the notch over the tibia bone to form the fibrous joint. Look at here. This is the proximal tibiofibular joint. This is the synovial plane joint. The articular surfaces are smooth, and we have a plain synovial joint at the proximal tibiofibular joint. Now look at here at the distal tibiofibular joint. This is the tibia bone lower end, and this is the fibula bone lower end. These two bones at the lower end will make a distal tibiofibular joint. The distal tibiofibular joint is a fibrous joint, not a synovial joint. We have a smooth articular area over the lower end of the fibula bone. This smooth articular area will make a socket. Note down, we have a socket here that is made by the tibia bone lower end and the fibula bone lower end. This smooth socket will articulate with the talus bone to form the ankle joint. So keep in mind, fibula lower end will make two joints. Its smooth area, smooth triangular area will make joint, that is the ankle joint with the talus bone, and this roughened triangular area will make a joint, will make a fibrous joint with this notch over the tibia bone. Now come to the shaft of the fibula bone. The shaft of the fibula bone has got three borders and three surfaces. First, I will describe the borders and then I will move to the surfaces. Fibula bone is the most difficult bone of the body to describe, and it's very difficult to trace its landmark. So concentrate here. You can see a surface here. You're looking at a surface here. This is the surface. This surface is narrower above and broader below. This surface is between two borders. This border is the anterior border and inner border is the medial border. This is the anterior border. This surface that you are looking at is between the two borders, between the anterior border and between the medial border. Let me trace the borders for you. This is the anterior border. You can note down that from the anterior aspect of the head downward, we can trace a border that is the anterior border of the fibula bone. And this anterior border of the fibula bone, you can note down that at the end divides into two parts and enclose the area that ends at the lateral malleolus. I will repeat, we have an anterior border that starts below the anterior aspect of the upper end downward. We will trace the anterior border downward, and at the end it splits into two parts, and that area encloses the lateral malleolus. So this is the anterior border of the fibula bone. Now come to the medial border. This is the anterior border and this is the medial border. Now let's trace the medial border. For tracing the medial border, we'll just say that immediately after the anterior border, inside we have another border. Note down the sentence. You will just say immediately inside of the anterior border we have another border. That border is the medial border. In between anterior and medial borders we have this medial surface, which is the thinnest surface of the fibula bone. The thickness of the bone is just few millimeters at this area. Gradually the thickness will increase, but here at the upper end you can see that this is very thin, just few millimeters. This medial border is the interosseous border of the fibula bone, which will give attachment to the interosseous membrane. Now I will show you the posterior border. This is the anterior border. You know, this is the anterior border. Immediately behind the anterior border, we have another border. You can see here clearly. This is the posterior border of the fibula bone. This is the posterior border of fibula bone. Immediately behind the anterior border, this is the posterior border of the fibula bone. How we will trace the posterior border of the fibula bone? We can say that beneath the stellate process, if we trace, we will find a border that is the posterior border of the fibula bone. We will trace it downward. So I will repeat, over the fibula bone we have got three borders. First of all, try to locate this thin surface, then the things will be very easy for you. This thin surface is between anterior border and medial border. Inside of the anterior border we have got the medial border. Between these two borders we have the thinnest surface. Note down, medial surface is also known as the anterior surface of fibula bone. Against the anterior border, behind the anterior border we will have the posterior border. This is the posterior border. Look at here, this is the posterior border of the fibula bone downward. Between the anterior border and the posterior border, laterally on the outer side, you can take help with the lateral malleolus. Towards the lateral malleolus, we have got a surface, that is the lateral surface of the fibula bone, between the anterior border and the posterior border. Now coming to the third surface, that is the posterior surface. It's very simple to locate the posterior surface, but you will get confused with one landmark, that is between the medial border and the lateral border. Keep in mind, this is not the surface. This is an oblique ridge, also known as the median crest. Keep in mind, posterior surface is the largest surface, starting from this was the posterior border and this was the medial border. Between these two borders, this whole is the posterior surface. This is the tricky point, the difficult point, the confusing point. Because of this median crest is not a border, keep in mind. So, my students, you have to start the description of shaft of the fibula in a sequence. Make a plan first. First, find out this thinnest surface, because this surface is between anterior border and the medial border. Here, one surface will end, other surface will start. So, other surface will start. Don't finish this surface at this line. Extend this surface till the posterior border. So between posterior border and medial border, we have got a largest surface, that is the posterior surface of the fibula bone. That's all about the fibula bone. Hello my dear students. Now I talk about the site determination and anatomical position of the fibula bone. Keep in mind, this is the difficult most bone. Whenever asked in exam, you get worried, you get confused. You can't decide about the fibula bone site determination, anatomical position. You can't decide about the upper and lower end. You can't decide about the borders and the surfaces. But I will make this fibula bone easy for you with the help of a simple trick. If you practice that trick and then study this fibula bone, you will always talk about the fibula bone with confidence. You will not get confused about any feature. The trick has got two steps. Number one, you have to decide about the upper end and the lower end. Look closely. Upper end resembles an Olympic torch. It is quadrangular and it resembles an Olympic torch. Upper end. And the lower end. Look at the lower end. This is the lower end. It resembles a snake head, a python snake head like appearance. This is the lower end of the fibula bone. When you are decided about the upper end and the lower end of fibula bone, then comes the step number 2. Step number 2 is how you hold the fibula bone. Concentrate here. Watch closely over the lower end. Behind the malleolus, we have got a depression, that is the malleolar fossa. You have to hold the fibula bone here. Inside the fibula bone, you will put your thumb margin. And if you successfully hold the fibula bone in this posture from the malleolar fossa, then both the anatomical and site determination will be finalized. So watch closely. This is the malleolar fossa. I have to hold the fibula bone here with the help of my thumb. So I hold the fibula from here with the help of my thumb here. And then I increase my grip. Look at here. I'm holding the fibula and it's not falling down. I'm increasing the grip. I'm holding it tightly and it's not falling down. It's standing erect. This is the anatomical position of the fibula bone. This is the site determination of the fibula bone. I'm holding it in my right hand. It's the bone of the right hand. I cannot hold it in my left hand. I'll show you later. But first, the importance of the anatomical position. Up till now, we have decided about the upper and lower end, and this is the anatomical position. Now, you will be confident that this is the front aspect. Here, we will have the anterior surface. Here, we will have the anterior border. And this is the lateral aspect. Here, we will have the lateral surface. We have the lateral malleolus. We have the anterior border, and we have the posterior border. And this side is the posterior side. We will have posterior surface here, and we will have malleolar fossa here. Malleolar fossa is present posto-inferiorly. So this is the job done. You can now study fibula from your book. You can now describe fibula in front of examiner with confidence. This is the fibula bone of the right side. I'll show you. I cannot hold this bone in my left hand like this. If I pinch this bone like this through my left hand, this bone will fall. I cannot hold this bone in the other hand. Look at here. This is the malleolar fossa. Okay, and this is my left thumb. Okay, if I hold the bone here with the help of my thumb, I will not succeed. I will not be able to hold this bone. Okay, get here. The bone is falling down. I cannot hold this bone in other hand. This bone belongs to the right side. Look at here. These are the 4 fibula bones. Maybe of right side, maybe of left side. I'll show you how quickly and with confidence I will determine the site and the anatomical position of these bones. Okay, so this is the bone. Okay, without looking at the bone, this is the malleolar fossa here, and I hold the bone like this. This is the bone of the right side. Now the next bone, look at here. This is second bone, and this is the medullary fossa. And if I hold the bone from here, this is the bone of the right side. Look at here. This is another bone, and this is the medullary fossa. And I have to hold this bone here. This is the bone of the left side. I cannot hold it in my right hand. This is the bone of the left side. And now the last bone. Look at here. This is the fibula bone, and this is the medullary fossa. I hold the bone here. I cannot hold. I hold the bone in my right hand. This is the fibula of the right side. So you should also practice the fibula. Hold the fibula like this, and then start studying fibula. Fibula will not be an issue for you. You will always study fibula with confidence. Look at here. You are looking at the surface. This surface is the anterior surface or the medial surface. This anterior surface is located between two borders. This side, the border is the medial border. This side, the border is the lateral border. And the surface is the anterior surface. You can note down anterior surface is wider below and narrower above. Above it is just few millimeters, and below it is wider. This is the anterior surface. Always locate this surface first. Get it between medial border and the anterior border. I am rotating here. This was the lateral surface. So you are looking at the lateral surface located between the anterior border and the posterior border. This is simple. This is the lateral surface of the fibula bone. Lower down, you can note down, this is leading towards the lateral malleolus. So this is the lateral surface of the fibula bone. I am rotating back. This was the anterior surface. I am rotating again. Look at here. If you are looking at a surface, this surface is confusing. This is the problem, because this is one surface, but you will say that these are two surfaces divided by another border. Keep in mind, this is not the border. This is median crest, and this whole is one surface, the largest surface of three, starting from medial border, ending at this posterior border. In between is the posterior surface, divided into two parts with the help of crest. So that's all about fibula bone.